Coming up on this edition of Provo Parks and Recreation, Mayor John Curtis discusses Parks and Recreation's role in the community, and Director of Parks and Recreation Roger Thomas will discuss exciting new developments in the Parks and Recreation Department. Come out and play. Hi, I'm Penn Almany, Recreation Coordinator and your host for the show. This show is dedicated to providing you information about the events, programs, and activities Provo Parks and Recreation has available for you. We're honored to be joined today by John Curtis, Mayor of Provo City. Mayor Curtis can provide some unique perspective into the Parks and Recreation services. Welcome, Mayor Curtis.
Thank you.
Oh,
Look
looking
at this.
Zippy. What a great welcome.
Wow, that's a key to the Parks and Recs department. Thank you, Zippy.
Oh, that's pretty special.
Oh, and a
And
nut for you.
A nut. Thank you. Thank you. This is probably one of your lucky nuts, right? Well, I appreciate you stopping by, Zippy. It's
See you,
always
Zippy.
a pleasure.
All right.
Well, Mayor Curtis, welcome again.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. What were some of your perceptions of the Parks and Recreation industry during your campaign process?
Well, like probably any citizen, we tend to look at all the things that we could be doing better. And so I've always looked at the parks and I've seen all the good, but through the campaign process, you tend to see the things you'd like the city to be doing differently.
Mm-hmm. So how's that perception changed from being a citizen to the mayor?
Well, I think you realize quickly how great we are when you see up close what we're doing and all the things that we've accomplished, and especially with the limited resources that we have.
I understand some people have an argument that Parks and Recreation may not be a necessary component to a community. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I'd hate to live in a community that didn't value parks and recreation. And if you think about our city without some of these great parks that we have, that would really lower our quality of life here in Provo.
Right. So what's your perspective as a city offering these activities and services compared to a private sector doing the same thing?
Well, I think if a private sector would be willing to do some of the things that we do is in the Parks and Recreation Department, we of course would love them to do it. Mm-hmm. But taking a large tract of land, converting it to non-income producing and letting people come and play and recreate on it. We haven't been able to get the private sector to do that.
Right,
and
understandable.
So I think as a general rule, the Parks and Recreation Department fills in those really important things for our community that the private sector is not interested in doing.
Right. So what are the benefits of a healthy, active community?
Well, so many. The quality of life, it impacts the prices of our homes in a positive way. It impacts the quality of life that we enjoy, how we feel and recreate together and spend time together as a community. All those things are tied into the Parks and Recreation Department.
Well, I understand one of our citizens got to spend a day with you.
Absolutely.
And he had some difficulty keeping up with you.
Well, anybody would.
So let's see the drama unfold.
Hello, Zippy. Welcome to your day with the mayor.
Well, Zippy, it appears as if you need to work on some of your physical conditioning. Yep, apparently you've been eating too much.
Zippy, you let me know when you want another go at it. We'll go out.
Well, Mayor, what are some of the services your family's participated in?
Quite a few, actually. We're big junior jazz participants.
Aren't
I
we
think
all?
all of my kids have gone through that program. My wife's done quite a bit of coaching, and we've done the volleyball and just a lot of the organized activities like that. We actually, our first home in Provo, we specifically picked one that was adjacent to a park.
Oh, yeah?
And loved just going over there on a frequent basis to walk and enjoy the park. I run on the trail almost daily.
Okay.
And so I think you'd find the Curtis family are big fans and big users of our park system.
Well, grateful for that. What value do you place on maintaining some open park space?
It's huge. It really is huge. As our community continues to grow, surrounding cities and Provo itself, we lose a lot of this openness that so many of us have enjoyed in Utah County.
Right.
And the day may come when parks are the only place where we get that open space.
So are there any success stories you've heard from the Parks and Recreation Department?
Wow, many. I think two that come to mind that jump out at me are the great turnarounds at our splash pool that was being subsidized by the city and now is actually contributing to the general fund of the city.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And the Ice Peaks Arena was a situation where it was losing a considerable amount of money, and due to some great management in the Parks and Recreation Department, that situation is turning around rapidly. And we're quickly becoming known for just a world-class facility there where people come from some distance to actually use that facility. And our Parks and Recreation Department has a great track record for managing facilities and doing so in a really efficient way without a lot of resources.
Right. So how do you feel about the new recreation center proposal and the bond to fund that?
Well, what was so exciting to me was that this was not my decision, this was not the City Council's decision, this was our residents who stood up and said, this is something we want. And they were able to convince the City Council to put it on the ballot. And then when it went to a vote, it was an overwhelming number of our residents who said, we want this in our city. And I think there are several reasons for that. One of them was the track record of things the city has done and managed well. I think seeing the library and how that's become such a great community asset has helped people see what the recreation center could be. And I'm very excited for this community gathering feature that we'll have. To me, it's far more than a recreation center. It's really a community gathering area that brings our community and our families together to recreate and to enjoy that great facility.
Yeah, hopefully it'll become a nice hub. And,
I have no doubt that it'll be much like our library in that sense, where people are coming together and meeting together and playing together and having a good time together.
Right. Do you see any future initiatives being proposed for the Provo Parks and Recreation?
Well, the Parks and Recreation Department is a pretty full plate. To build the recreation center, we've started a number of parks that we're anxious to finish, and are actually in the middle of starting a couple of more parks. And so more than anything else, just keeping up and finishing the projects underway are going to keep us very busy.
I'm sure. Well, Mayor Curtis, I appreciate the time you spent with us today.
Well, thank you. It's been fun to be here.
Yeah, it's always great to get another perspective.
Thank you.
You're welcome. For more information about Provo City, visit provo.org. Okay. Here's your chance to win Covey Center tickets. Zippy loves Provo parks, and he has decided to give you the opportunity of guessing which park he visits every month. Check out this picture and let us know which park he's at. Submit your answer on our website, parks.provo.org. You could be the lucky winner of 2 Covey Center tickets. Good luck! It's time for a short break. When we come back, we'll talk with Director of Parks and Recreation in Provo, Roger Thomas. Stay tuned.
My energy bills are killing me. Help me, Switch It Man.
Drafty window. Switch it. Old appliance? Switch it. Incandescent light bulb? Switch it!
Provo Power is giving rebates for new energy-efficient appliances, home weatherization, and home energy audits. Visit switchitprovo.com for details.
Lazy husband? Switch him for a pet.
Hey!
Welcome back to Provo Parks and Recreation. Joining us now is Director of Parks and Recreation, Roger Thomas. Welcome, Roger.
It's nice to be here, Penn. Thank you for the invitation.
Oh, look, it's
Zippy, how are you? What have you brought me today? Oh my gosh, this beautiful trophy. World's greatest Parks and Recreation Director. Thank you.
That's pretty swell.
Appreciate it.
And oh, I get one too. Slightly above average host. Wow, Zippy, I appreciate it. Thank you for thinking of me.
Bye, Zippy. Thank
see
you.
See ya. Roger, you could probably tell that Zippy and I have a love-hate relationship going.
Well, I'm glad to see that Zippy really thinks the world of me as a Parks and
Yes.
Recreation Director. I really appreciate that.
Yes, as do I. Yep. So how long have you been the director of Provo Parks and Recreation?
Well, actually, I started in July of 1996. And so that makes it, this last January would have been about 14 and a half years.
Wow. So what makes Provo Parks and Recreation so unique compared to these other employment opportunities?
Well, one of the unique factors of Provo Parks and Recreation is the fact that it is a much larger and diverse organization than the other ones that I'd worked for previously.
Okay.
In Provo, of course, we have two major divisions. We have a Parks Division, which basically covers our park maintenance area, our park projects, urban forestry. We have the gun range, we have the cemetery, the East Bay, the Reserve at East Bay Golf Course, and many other functions that take place in parks that make our community a great place to live. And then the Recreation Division has many services and programs and facilities that we offer. Of course, one of the latest ones is the Peaks Ice Arena. We have the Recreation Center there at Provo High School, the Veterans Memorial Pool that's open in the summer. We have the center, the Eldridge Senior Center, the Covey Center for the Arts, community special events, and of course youth and adult sports programs, and many other opportunities for the citizens to really enjoy our great community. Well, as you know, it just doesn't take a few people. It takes a lot of individuals with a lot of different skills and background to run this operation. And we have a total of 50 full-time employees. And then depending on the season of the year, we have anywhere from about 150 part-time, regular, and seasonal employees to as many as 300, depending on the season of the year. And of course, these can range from park maintenance workers to those that work at the cemetery, at the golf course.
Right.
We have instructors, we have referees and officials, we have supervisors, lifeguards, concession operators, attendants, cashiers. I mean, you name it, we have all different kinds and all different varieties. And so we just appreciate the great talent that exists in this community for those that want to earn a little additional income as well as develop additional talents and skills. And we appreciate what everybody does to serve all of these different areas in this department to make what it is today.
Right. Well, speaking of some of our staff members, I understand you have a probationary evaluation that occurs annually, and we just happened to catch one of those, including Zippy as an employee. So Zippy, why don't you take us to tape and see how that turned out?
Zippy, it's great to have you here today. Thanks for being a part of the Parks and Recreation Department. Welcome. As you know, as part of the Provo City policies, we do have periodic employee evaluations with new employees, and especially for a probationary period. And so I'm excited to be able to meet with you today to have this probationary interview with you. Overall, I've really noticed that you've been an absolutely great employee, and just been a great representative of the Provo Parks and Recreation Department, and we're just very happy with everything that you have done. But what I'd like to do is maybe go over some of the events that have happened over the last 6 months in relationship to your actual job performance, so you can kind of see what you've been doing well, maybe what you haven't been doing quite as well, and how you can improve. But overall, you are an absolutely super talented chipmunk, and you've shared many of your hidden talents that we think the department can utilize not only currently, but even in the future. And one of these talents came out when you performed at the Covey Center. We just may need to enhance your ticket sales, Zippy.
Employees pursuing their recreational interests are encouraged, but you must be able to participate with our normal users. A potential incident at the skate park comes to mind. Remember, Zippy, a giant chipmunk can be very intimidating to young people. Zippy, also, I've noticed that other parks and recreation staff have really enjoyed working with you. Your time helping the front office staff created some great working relationships. Even with all the positive characteristics that I've just talked to you about, Zippy, you need to know I still do have some major concerns with your focus on safety in the workplace. Your time working with parks and especially at the Peaks Ice Arena were very eventful. Be careful, Zippy. We want you around for a long time. Now, continuing the safety theme, we found a missing film clip of another accident while you were at a basketball game doing a basketball-themed skit.
You all right?
Yeah. That just hurt me watching it. Zippy, I want you to keep up the good work and I will be watching your progress.
Zippy, it looks as if your probationary status might be extended just a bit longer.
As you can tell, Zippy is a very good employee, but still has a few things that needs to be improved upon.
I wholeheartedly agree. See you, Zippy. Go work on your employment opportunities. Last November, Provo residents approved a $39 million general obligation bond to construct a recreation center. And I'm sure most of us are probably interested as to how the progress is coming with that project.
Absolutely. We get questions a lot about why isn't the center already under construction? And what a lot of people don't understand is there's a lot of legal requirements that we need to meet following the election. And then we're currently in the process now of actually getting an architect on board and then a general contractor to actually build the facility. All of these take time in putting together what we call requests for proposals. And as a result, we have those out. We actually are getting the ones back for the architect on February the 23rd. Those will be reviewed by a selection committee of city staff members, elected officials, and Provo citizens, when we will then go ahead and select the architect, and then we'll go through a similar process with what we call a construction manager, general contractor, and those requests for proposals are due on March the 9th. So once we get to that point, then we can actually start the final design and then have the contractor offer their input, so that hopefully by about the end of April, first part of May, we should be in full design of the facility and hopefully under construction sometime early this summer.
Very exciting.
It really is an exciting project.
Yeah. So along those lines, I understand our city had a master plan that was approved back in 1994. Exactly what is a Parks and Recreation master plan?
Okay, great. Yeah, the last master plan was done in May of 1994. And what a master plan does, it kind of sets some guidance and direction for the future in regard to where you want to go, so that if you have limited resources, you spend those resources in the areas that you really want them to be.
Gotcha.
So we're excited that the council has recently approved some funds for us to go ahead and complete a new Parks and Recreation master plan that will actually set the standards and goals for the next 20 years.
Wow.
Now, what a master plan typically does is that they'll go back in and you'll do an inventory of everything you currently own and evaluate the status of those, whether it be a park, a trail, a recreational facility, and determine are there different improvements or additions that need to be made to those programs or facilities. Then you also take a look at, because of the growth of our community, which is much different than it was in 1994, the population has increased, the city has expanded, to determine where might we need new facilities, where might new parks or trails or new recreational facilities be needed. And then also, our Parks and Recreation master plan will also then determine a funding source to meet the costs associated with all those improvements, as well as setting priorities for where you want to spend those dollars. So it's a process that involves the community. It's one that will take about a year to complete, and so we hope that the citizens will be actively involved. We'll have a blue ribbon committee that'll kind of be involved with a lot of citizens of the community to help us direct what we want to do, and we'll take all the input from local neighborhood meetings, from surveys, and other means whereby the citizens can offer their support of what they would like to see Parks and Recreation in Provo be for the next 20 years.
On the west side, we've got Lakeview Elementary and the Lakeview Park that's going to be built adjacent, or I guess has actually already begun being built adjacent to the school. How can citizens get more involved in helping that project progress?
Absolutely. It's one of those projects that unfortunately the funding source didn't materialize as quick as the city had hoped. And as a result, we've been able to get some of it done, but we still have a lot to complete on that park. Our intent is that this spring we would like to utilize some of the neighbors in that area to help rake a lot of the rocks out of the topsoil that's been placed on the site in preparation for the final grade, as well as the planting of the grass. We'll also have a tree planting area as well as shrubbery. We'll be going out to bid here soon for picnic pavilions and playgrounds, and we hope that the neighborhood members will come and be a part of that selection process, so we make sure we pick out the right amenities for that park.
Right. So every citizen bring their rake and a bottle of lemonade, right?
Absolutely, and we'll be sure to let them know on the dates and times, but we're probably looking into April and May of this year, and hopefully by their efforts we can actually get this park built sooner rather than later.
Right. Well, that'll be nice.
Okay.
Oh, it looks like it's Zippy time, Roger. Woo. Yeah. Good job. Well, I understand in 2003, Provo City received a sizable donation over by the former Seven Peaks Golf Course. What's the status of that plot?
Yeah, the city actually received a donation of 65 acres of property, which is actually up on the mountainside. It's a fairly good sized piece of property.
That's huge.
And as a result, we've been working with Insight Design to come up with a master plan for that particular site, because there were some stipulations with that donation that we had to have certain sections of that built within certain periods of time. And so we're really excited about finishing up the design and hopefully getting that funded, and it will be a part of the Parks Recreation Master Plan priority list.
Wow. So can citizens give you suggestions as to what they'd like seen, or is it pretty much already dictated?
At this point, we're kind of into the final construction phase of that project. So we've had the public meetings, and we've met with the neighborhood, and we've pretty much gone through our reviews. But certainly, we're always willing to accept thoughts and ideas if by chance it could be a benefit to that park.
Well, on a previous show, if you've been following us, Assistant Director of Parks, Doug Robbins, mentioned that the Provo City Cemetery was in need of expansion. What's the status of that project?
Yeah, the Provo City Cemetery was actually built in 1853, so we're talking it's almost 160 years old, and the 45 acres that we have there is just about filled to capacity, and we don't have very many plots left to sell, and it's certainly a very important need that the city needs to provide its citizens. And so over the years, the city has actually purchased property to the west of the cemetery, and we're in the process now of accepting requests for proposals from architectural firms that may be interested in coming in and designing the 6 to 8 acres to the west of the cemetery for the next phase of that expansion. And there's many elements of the cemetery that people would like to see that we don't have in the current cemetery because of a lot of cremations that are occurring, or people would like to be buried above ground in mausoleums. We don't have those opportunities there, and we'll be incorporating a lot of those into the new design. So it will be definitely a good benefit to the citizens of Provo, and so that design process will be getting underway here shortly.
Well, that's pretty neat. So as spring approaches, are there going to be any opportunities for
there's many opportunities, and especially as the weather changes, I know there's a lot of individuals, families, and groups that want to know how they can help the city. And so we have a volunteer services coordinator within the Parks and Recreation Department that works out of the Parks Division that has a long master list of a lot of different projects that we never seem to get to as a maintenance group that would still be very beneficial to not only the appearance of parks, cemeteries, the golf course, and other areas. And so we would encourage anyone that has an interest to contact our parks maintenance facility and to contact our volunteer services coordinator. Be more than happy to line up those different projects for them. I know we're always looking for Eagle Scout projects to help with different things that will meet not only the Scouts' needs but also our needs.
That's great. That's a good opportunity. So in conclusion, what are some of the upcoming recreational activities for the spring season?
Well, as you know, as spring comes, I mean, everybody wants to be outdoors.
Right.
And so we've got a lot of sports programs for youth and adults on the horizon, from soccer to baseball to lacrosse, I know, is getting really big in this area. I know volleyball is still an interesting sport, even though that's still indoors. But we look forward to a lot of those leagues filling up, especially all of our adult softball programs. We have a lot of citywide special events, and two of the larger ones that are coming up here shortly. We have the Kids Science Palooza, which is on March 12th at the center from 12 to 3. It's a great event, of a lot of different science experiments and activities and events for the kids. It's a great event to bring young families and children there. And then, of course, the big one is the Easter egg hunt, which is coming up in April. I believe it's April 23rd, and that's at 10 o'clock. And we hope that everybody will enjoy those. As well as, you know, there's swimming lessons and ice skating lessons and dance lessons at the Covey Center, and a lot of different programs that people can take advantage of.
Well, if your interests are varied, we've got you covered here in Provo, right?
That's right.
Well, I appreciate you coming again, Roger. It's been very insightful. For information about current and upcoming projects, visit us online at parks.provo.org. You can also reach staff by calling 801-852-6600. Connect with us on Facebook, come visit us in person, or give us a call. Be sure to tune in Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 6 a.m., 11:30 a.m., and 7:30 p.m. right here on Provo Channel 17 and online at channel17.provo.org.